At the ancient site of Baia, a few extraordinary ruins have defied the ravages of time and still stand resolute. Among these are the remnants of the Temple of Mercury, renowned for its grand dome, the Baths of Sosandra, once a haven of relaxation and opulence, and the expansive remains of the Villa of the Papyri, which once contained a vast library. There's an intriguing irony in how Baia got its name. Legend has it that the name comes from Baius, the helmsman for the mythic Greek hero Odysseus, as depicted in Homer's Odyssey. It is said that after his epic seafaring adventures, Baius was buried near what would later become this renowned Italian resort. This story beautifully links the heroic voyages of ancient tales to the later indulgences of the Roman elite who sought pleasure and repose in Baia. Moreover, the city's name was also given to the nearby body of water, now called the Gulf of Baione, Latin Sinus Baianus, part of the larger Gulf of Pozzuoli today. The naming might seem a tad too strategic, possibly an early attempt at marketing, designed to infuse the area with a sense of greatness and allure, making it a favored retreat for the wealthy. By associating the city with a character from a celebrated heroic narrative, the founders of Baia were likely aiming to enhance the locale's prestige, enveloping it in a narrative of cultural and historical depth that linked the leisure activities of its patrons to the gallant exploits of legendary mariners. Baia was established on the brink of an ancient volcanic crater within the active volcanic area of the Phlegraean Fields near Cumae. Its transformation from a mere harbor, initially known as Portus Baianus, into a lavish sanctuary might appear somewhat rash given the unstable nature of its environment. Nonetheless, the region's thermal springs were a major draw, enticing visitors to the thermal spas that had been set up there. By 80 BC, Baia had turned into the preferred retreat for the Roman upper class. Distinguished figures such as Gaius Marius, Lucius Licinius Lucullus, and Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus frequented this spot. Julius Caesar himself owned a villa here, underscoring a popular trend among the elite to possess estates in Baia, a practice further perpetuated by Emperor Augustus, who enlarged the imperial holdings in the region. Baia's significance increased even more in 36 BC, when it became the site of Portus Julius, the primary base for the Western Fleet of the Roman Navy. Yet, this naval importance was fleeting, as sediment from the nearby Lake Lucrinus eventually clogged the area, necessitating a move of the fleet to Cape Misenum. Long before these later events, Baia was already notorious for its opulent and indulgent atmosphere. For instance, in 56 BC, the infamous socialite Clodia was accused during Marcus Caelius Rufus's trial of leading a scandalous lifestyle in both Rome and Baia, a place renowned for its non-stop parties and excessive drinking. Later, Sextus Propertius depicted it as a den of moral decay during the Augustan era, while Seneca the Younger described Baia as a vortex of luxury and a haven for all sorts of vice, where young girls behaved like women, elderly women sought to regain their youth, and some men adopted feminine personas. This trend of luxury only grew with Emperor Nero, who constructed a lavish villa in Baia in the middle of the 1st century. Emperor Hadrian also chose to spend his final days at his villa in Baia in 138 AD, and the location was favored by Emperor Septimius Severus. Local resorts often highlighted their connections to these imperial figures to attract more visitors. For example, Suetonius mentioned that the cloak, brooch, and golden bulla that Pompeia Magna, daughter of Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, had given to a young Tiberius were still being shown in the area around 120 AD. One of the most extraordinary events in Baia's history occurred in 39 AD when Emperor Caligula constructed a 3-mile pontoon bridge across the Gulf of Baia. This was in response to an astrologer's prediction that he had no more chance of becoming emperor than he had of riding a horse across the Gulf. He covered the bridge with sand and crossed it wearing a golden mantle, thus turning a seemingly impossible prediction into a grand display of authority. The remains of this bridge of Caligula continued to fascinate tourists for centuries. Despite its allure and strategic significance, Baia never became a self-governing municipality, always remaining administratively linked to nearby Cumae. By the late 4th century, the area continued to draw the affluent, such as the extraordinarily wealthy consul Symmachus, who extolled the tranquility his villa in nearby Bauli provided. By the 6th century, the Ostrogothic king Athalaric was lauding the area for its scenic views, excellent oysters, and restorative natural baths. Nevertheless, the region started experiencing significant land subsidence due to bradyseism, leading to parts of Baia sinking below sea level in 2 distinct phases, first during the late imperial era, and then more substantially a century later. By the 8th century, much of Lower Baia was underwater. This, coupled with frequent malaria outbreaks, left Baia largely deserted by 1500, although it briefly revived when Pedro de Toledo constructed the Castello di Baia in the 16th century. The Bay of Baia provides a mesmerizing yet eerie window into the past, unveiling the remnants of an ancient volcanic crater now partially submerged by the sea. During Roman times, this location was more than just a picturesque landscape. It was a vibrant coastal lagoon known as Lake Baianus. The Romans constructed their grandiose structures along a sandy strip sandwiched between the sea and the now submerged eastern shore of the lake, cradled by the inner slope of the crater. From a modern perspective, the Romans' choice to build on this unstable sandy isthmus, a narrow piece of land separating the lagoon from the open sea, seemed short-sighted. Known for their architectural genius, the Romans daringly erected luxurious villas and public edifices on this precarious landmass, a decision that illustrates their blend of grand ambition and somewhat negligent disregard for the environmental risks, a characteristic pursuit of immediate opulence and comfort by the Roman upper class. To link the lagoon with the sea, the Romans constructed a canal through this fragile isthmus. This canal, about 105 feet wide, was flanked by 2 massive piers, each stretching roughly 754 feet long and 30 feet wide. These feats of engineering demonstrated the Romans' ability to tailor their environment to suit their needs. Constructed with layers of concrete embedded with volcanic tuff chips within wooden frames, the resilience and precision of their building methods are still evident today. Notably, the northern pier survives in part, with about 207 feet of its original structure protruding from the eastern end, standing as a dilapidated testament to Roman architectural aspirations. A notable finding was the Aphrodite of Baia, a sculpture resembling the renowned Venus de Medici, which surfaced under curious conditions before 1803. It was first showcased by the English collector Thomas Hope in his London gallery. The sculpture's debut, coinciding with Mr. Hope's rise in the art world, certainly invites skepticism. Its opportune discovery, seemingly tailored to augment an expanding art collection, appears almost too fortuitous. Decades later, in 1941, intensive excavations began at the site of Baia. Archaeologists meticulously unearthed layers of history, revealing remnants from various epochs. They discovered ancient Roman villas, opulent bath complexes, and other structures dating from the late Republican era to the late Roman Empire. These findings offered a vivid insight into the sumptuous lifestyles once enjoyed by Rome's elite in Baia, providing a deeper understanding of the historical and cultural significance of this ancient site. Beneath the Sosandra baths, a fascinating discovery was made, a collection of plaster molds used for creating replicas of celebrated Hellenistic statues. These molds are now on display at the city's archaeological museum, featuring fragments of famous works such as Harmodius and Aristogeiton from Athens and the Athena of Velletri. This find suggests that Baia housed a facility that mass-produced marble or bronze copies of renowned Greek artworks for the Italian market, effectively operating as a production house for luxury art reproductions. In April 2023, underwater archaeologists from the Campi Flegrei Archaeological Park unearthed the remains of a submerged ancient Roman villa. This submerged structure, once a symbol of affluence, featured marble floors, numerous marble columns, and a meticulously crafted mosaic floor. The intricate designs and patterns of the mosaic demonstrate the high degree of craftsmanship and opulence that once flourished in this villa before it was claimed by the sea. The challenge of preserving artifacts underwater is exemplified by structures originally hailed as temples, which are now recognized merely as parts of luxurious bathing complexes. These buildings were once misleadingly named to suggest religious importance, such as the Temple of Mercury, Venus, and Diana, yet they primarily served as venues for leisure and indulgence for Rome's elite. Such grandiose naming likely aimed to imbue these spaces with an aura of prestige and mystique, a clever stroke of ancient branding. The baths of Baia, fueled by naturally heated underground springs, stood as marvels of Roman engineering. These facilities not only provided places for relaxation and socializing, but also played a crucial role in Roman healthcare, offering treatments for various ailments with their therapeutic mineral waters, complete with on-site medical professionals. The sophisticated heating systems, comparable to modern saunas, highlight the Roman skill in melding practicality with luxury. Consider the so-called Temple of Diana, a large, partially collapsed dome, initially designed to harness steam from the natural hot springs below. Adorned with marble depictions of hunting scenes, this structure was less a place of worship and more a monument to lavishness, potentially dedicated to Alexander Severus's mother, Julia Mamaia, as a tribute to her familial prestige rather than any spiritual endeavor. Likewise, the Temple of Mercury boasts a notable dome, 71 feet in diameter, which predated the Roman Pantheon. This dome, the oldest known concrete dome featuring a central oculus and square skylights, originally enclosed a cold water pool of the public baths. Constructed with large blocks of volcanic tuff, it demonstrates the Romans' advanced material knowledge and engineering prowess, possibly aiming for both enduring renown and functional utility. The Temple of Venus is another instance of misleading naming. This building, with an octagonal exterior and a circular interior about 85 feet across, was likely commissioned by Emperor Hadrian, a patron of unique architectural styles. Incorrectly named due to a statue of Venus found on site, it actually served as a key part of a larger bathing complex rather than a religious site. The structure's sophisticated design, luxurious decorations, and the name's ambiguity reflect the Romans' adeptness at fostering a sense of importance and allure around their leisure sites. Architectural innovation at Baia extended beyond mere functionality to include groundbreaking design elements. The dome of the Venus bathhouse, for instance, showcased a blend of spherical and flatter segments, a pioneering style introduced by Emperor Hadrian, mirrored in his other architectural ventures like the Villa at Tivoli. This distinctive design is evident in the villa's vestibule in Piazza d'Oro and the so-called Serapeum. The dome's external drum was coated in stucco that mimicked blocks of marble, highlighted with lines of glass paste in a vivid blue. This created a striking visual effect from a distance, with the appearance of brilliant white marble crisscrossed by sparkling blue. This artistic decision, coupled with the complex's geometrically orchestrated plan capped by an intricate dome, illustrates how Roman architects skillfully manipulated design elements to enhance the visual grandeur of their structures. Internally, the opulent mosaics and marble finishes within these bathhouses reflected a society that invested heavily in the aesthetic and luxurious decoration of public spaces, elevating them to symbols of social prestige and places of visual delight. Despite their grand but sometimes misleading names, these structures are a testament to a culture obsessed with impressiveness, often blending the lines between reality and grandeur, leaving a legacy that continues to to captivate and occasionally perplex contemporary observers. The exceptionally well-preserved ruins of Baia, lying about 16 feet below sea level, provide an unparalleled window into Roman opulence and architectural prowess, making it an exceptional site for underwater archaeology. In 2002, the historical and cultural importance of these ruins was formally recognized when the area was designated as a protected zone, marking a crucial step in the conservation of both the archaeological and natural heritage of the Mediterranean. This protection not only helps preserve these ancient marvels, but also facilitates further exploration and discovery. Today, the sunken city of Baia, with its storied past now silent beneath the waves, continues to fascinate historians, archaeologists, and divers eager to delve deeper into its history and the lives of its erstwhile inhabitants. The ongoing efforts to safeguard and study Baia ensure it remains more than just a historical artifact. It stands as a dynamic subject of scientific inquiry and retains a mysterious charm that draws those enthralled by the ancient world. Did ancient Romans prioritize luxury over safety by building Baia on volatile land? Comment your thoughts and subscribe for more intriguing explorations into history's mysteries. With your support, we can keep bringing you more fantastic stories like this one.